Hey, what's up, fam? Happy Sunday. Let's just go ahead and hop right into things. First live meeting in like a month. So let's just hop right into it. Hope everybody having a great weekend or start of the week. By watching or reading this, you're saying you understand the following. I'm not a financial advisor, and this is not trading advice. This session is solely for educational purposes. There's significant financial risk associated with options trading, and I'm not liable for your wins or losses in the market. If you decide to act on this information, let's go right into sector performance. So on Friday, you see it looks totally different than how we finished last week. We had cyclicals, consumer cyclicals up there as the top performing on Friday, followed by communication services. Shout out to Meta, Google, because they kind of like really. Well, let me check something else really quickly. I just now thought about it in this second as I was talking about it. Like, where has this stock been at? Yeah, hold on. Netflix was in the mix too. That's what wanted to make sure I checked for Netflix. One second. Yeah, Netflix was in the mix too. One second. Sorry. So yes, we had communication services. They were pretty strong on Friday. Industrials, consumer staples, financials were up. So it was like everything was pretty green. It was pretty green, pretty green. But then for the week, you see comms carried the week, followed by tech, consumer cyclicals, industrials, financials, basic materials. So we had a lot going on, but you see, energy was one of the worst performing sectors on the week. So it was a total flip from the week before last week, right? That was the only green sector. So we got a total flip because energy is one of those sectors that's defensive and then all of the war stuff going on too. So oil was just in play, but it's also a defensive sector as well. Oh, all right, cool. Like I gotta put a barrier between this slide right here and the previous slide, but we just get right into it. So look, just updating our yearly totals for so these are profits right here, year to date from January the 2nd up into I got June 26 on here because June 26 um was the last trade that I alerted into Friday. As you can see here, our average weekly profit $1,600, our average monthly profit $6,600, and our average profit per trade is like almost 200%, right? Now, these are our net profits generated. So we're pushing 40K, and we just finished the first 6 months of the year. So these profits are based on one contract per trade alert. So that's why when I talk a lot of that stuff about, one contract, one contract, one contract, it's important because like I said, y'all see a lot of these people posting these profits and stuff online, and there's nothing wrong with what they do. But I'm just saying, I know a lot of traders that come out, that work for their money and don't have a lot of money to be out there just putting up $4,000 or $3,000 on a trade to make $5,000. They don't have all that money. So when you see somebody trading for 15 minutes to make a few $1,000s, a lot of times they put up a lot of money to do that, and that's a lot of risk. So when that option pulled back, or when that stock pulled back, a lot of times it that hurts. So those big profits really quickly, they can cause like big losses too, scalping, jumping in quickly. And that's just a tactic that's not for everyone. So just what we do is something different here with a lot of risk management in it. And you can still trade that way, grab a lot of contracts if you want to. I can't stop you from doing that, but I'm saying that you don't have to do that here, and you can make a salary We're pushing a doctor's salary for the year, based on what we're doing so far. And just one contract, like I said, $39,875, basically $40,000 for the first half of 2025. And if you got the $250 membership, that's a 15,900% ROI and a 22,700% ROI on the 175. So that's why I always tell y'all when we talk about it's everything, you got to look at things in totality. We averaging over $6,000 per month in this community. So, I don't trade every day. I trade when when trades are in play and when the stocks that I'm watching are in play and when I'm in the zone. You want me to trade when I'm in the zone. That's what you want. And I know a lot of people, some people are new to trading and they want to trade. They're happy about trading. But listen, when trading is fun all the time, most of the time you're gambling. You know what I'm saying? Like it shouldn't be fun all the time. So I used to be one of those traders that look forward to Monday to trade. But like I said, Monday is one of the worst days to trade, depending on the situation, depending on the catalyst, depending on what's going on. We got a short week because we closed for the 4th of July on Friday, and so, it's a lot going on. It's a lot going on. But so this may be a different situation. But like I said, just the only expectation should be is that you're gonna make money. You know what I mean? But just don't be so quick to force the trades and just because at the end of the day, when you
Hey,
do that, a lot of times y'all don't be around for, when things round out the way they need to
did
round
he
out.
bust a shot at him?
That so let's just keep on. Let's keep it going. But
Oh
shout out
yeah.
to everybody. And again, I always go through these slides just for people who don't know. We got, like I said, there's no cherry picking of the trades around here. These are, all of our trades, including the losses. These totals are the net profit. So January, $4,600 per single option. For February, we cleared $8,400. March, March Madness, 6,100. April, 8,000 for the month of April. It's another big month. May, 6,400, and this is for June right now. What we have, $5,600 per single option for the month of June. And we got one more day in June. That's tomorrow. It's the end of the month. We got the monthly closing lot. So we've been crushing it for we've been crushing it. We just been crushing it. So, and yeah, let's just hop right into things here. So yeah, just trust the process here. Follow what's going on. If you're new, you just got here. We got to start here. First thing you do, just go in there and check the start here. Look at how everything works. Look at what's expected of you here, and you'll be fine because everybody has expectations. And I want y'all to be successful. I want y'all to be able to print how we did. I gotta go back to this for a second, man. Look at how because like it's just, and the reason I'm doing this is because it's important. We get a lot of people who trade and they like to be, y'all want to be in these trades and just want to be pushing these trades and want me to be pushing these trades out. I did a lot of traveling for the month of June. It's my G-Day month. I did a lot of traveling. I had people complaining because I wasn't around a whole lot for June. Look how much money we made for the month of June. You know what I'm saying? We crushed the month of June. I was calling out trades on my birthday. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like you're not always gonna, you may, when you want to trade, you may not get a trade. I'm gonna trade when I'm in the zone. I'm gonna trade when I feel like it's best for the team. Sometimes I'll float a trade,
Nazma.
for the team. Somebody need to mute their line. Sometimes I'll float a trade for the team and stuff like that, and you'll get that. I'll float a trade and I won't be around. But then I don't like doing that much because a lot of times people aren't. I'm assuming that people are following the parameters I got in place, and that's not the case all the time. But like I said, look at the month of June, and but then I had people in my DMs or in my email complaining like you're not here and you didn't do this and you do that, man. Look how my birthday was June 23rd. So for the month for that week, it was just a meta marathon. We crushed meta for that whole, like from that the end of that week heading all the way throughout the end of the month. It was meta after meta after meta. We burnt meta down, but we burn meta down every year for my birthday. That's just what we do. I mean, and I'm not saying that is all. It just ended up to work out that way for the last few years. You know, for the last several years. This our fifth. We in our fifth year, but yeah, we just been burning the market down, and that's what we do. So, and the issue is, I feel like the issue is don't just trust the process when things are going well for you. You know what I mean? When after you see a big trade like one of those meta trades, then now you antsy and like, look, I need another trade. Come on, why are you not calling out trades? Where he's at? Like we still in a meta trade that's in play. We're still in this trade. You know, every chart tells a story. I laid the whole chart out, the whole story. We bought at key levels, and we're gonna get the meta shortly on the actual chart. But I'm saying like these are the things that you're not gonna force me to alert another trade when we're in a trade that's in progress that we are printing in because it's a swing trade. You know what I'm saying? And that's the case a lot of times where but y'all miss the trade because we cut the last trade. If the structure breaks down, we cutting the trade. I don't care about that. There's no egos over here. We trade market structure and we following the price action. If the trade breaks down, we getting out of it. But that shouldn't determine whether or not you take the next trade. But it's like, oh damn, well they're in that meta trade. How was I supposed to know that he was going to call this trade out in the last 3 minutes before the market closed? Because if you pay attention to the start here, the start here when you get here, meaning your onboard materials, it tells you most likely if I'm going to swing something, I'm going to come in here in the last few minutes heading into the close, and I'm foxing this chart to make sure we secure in certain levels to make sure I'm gonna call out this trade. But that first big meta trade that I alerted. I came in like 15 minutes before and started prepping the team for it. Told you I was going to alert the trade, but people aren't really paying attention. And again, I'm not trying to go on this rant, but I want to start off July the right way. And it's a lot of new people on here, and there's a lot of people on here who've been here for a while. And I just need y'all on the same page. I want y'all on this train with us. You know, if you get left behind, it's going to be because you're not opening the chat in the morning and scrolling up to see if you missed anything. You're not really looking at the Market Talk channel to see if there are any updates in there or really following these levels and paying attention to what's going on, because we're going to make the money whether you make it or not. So, but I want y'all to make the money too. I don't want to leave y'all behind. But like I said, when Meta is in play, we're in it, and Meta was a big part of these trades for this month, but it was a lot of other trades too. And I just want everybody to be locked in. Like I said, you can get away with not following the process a lot because sometimes there are trades where we get in and they just continue to run. You get a retest and continuation, but then sometimes the market ain't that is not that simple. And it's like, okay, damn, those parameters he put in place would have saved me if I followed it this time. So it's for the times where it don't work out. You got to really those things got to be in play. And I just want everybody to take that, be accountable for those things so that way we can all eat together. I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this for a while. And like I said, the numbers don't lie. You can scroll through every single month, every single month this year. That's why the way I do it this way now, with every month I post, we got the profits for every single month that gets replayed every month. So it's just full transparency. So you can see exactly what we're doing here. And it always end up the same way. We end up clearing thousands of dollars, like north of over $5,000 each single month for just buying one contract. You know what I mean? If you buy more, that's up to you. But I'm saying you can make a lot of money with great risk management in this community if you follow this process. But the issue, just don't veer off. Stay focused and let's just keep it going. This is what I do. I know what I'm doing. I'm a professional. I'm a professional trader. Been doing this for a while. Like I said, it's a lot to take in. And, that's what my job is to kind of deal with all of the other stuff. I just need y'all to stay focused and don't be a gambler. You see other traders doing other things, let them do their thing. Don't follow behind them because I ain't call out another trade. Just be ready when I do call out a trade. Take that trade. You know what I'm saying? And let's make this happen. So let's get right into it. Let's keep it moving. All right. So we already kind of went into market talk pretty much. And I normally open this up for let the team, if the team has any updates or anything, any lessons learned or anything that they want to talk about or anything that kind of helped them or that would probably be good tips for anybody else. Normally where we open this up and let the team kind of speak. Now, typically, like I said, over the last few over a month or so, I haven't been doing a live meetings. I've been recording them and just letting them publish automatically. But I've been doing that because, these meetings haven't really been interactive. So I'm like, I can just record this meeting and go hit the tennis course or something. But when you're on here, and so yeah, does anybody have anything they want to add or?
I like that JBL call out you had last week. I've been riding it up from the 208 number, and still going strong.
All-time highs?
Hmm.
Yeah, that was a pretty interesting trade. That was going. So you still in it or you secured
Yeah,
it?
still in it.
Okay, okay. All right. Cool.
We'll
Congrats
see
on
what
that.
it does. It had pretty strong close on Friday, so we'll see what it does this coming week.
Cool, cool. Nice. Let's see. Yeah, a lot of it was a lot of big, it was a lot of movement from a lot of stocks, but no, that one had they had a pretty strong beat on earnings and the guidance was great. And that stock up. So I like when I see stocks. It led tech last month. I mean, last week it was the strongest stock, the biggest stock on the biggest tech stock, biggest percentage gainer for last week.
I'm looking at that 220 number for it to get to.
Cool.
Anybody else? I don't know.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, anybody else? I mean, I think anybody have um anything else before we move on? Yeah, you know how I feel about stocks at all-time highs. So, once I, I was done with it. I was done with it at after I took profit that day because it was in uncharted territory and I was watching Meta after that. But that's good that you stayed in it and rode it higher. Just I get a little apprehensive with all-time highs.
Hey, how you doing today?
Hey, what's going on, Jose?
Hey, yeah, so I have a question. Sorry, I haven't been around much. I just been trying to work and stack some more cash. But I have a question like in terms of meta, just on the overall chart, 'cause I'm trying to learn how to see things how you see them. Um, so in terms of like you always say if you don't know how to read price action, which obviously I don't, you're way more skilled at that and meta you have locked in. Is it when you look at it, do you focus more or less on how it closes on the hourly, and then the 5 minute chart is more in terms of like an entry and exit, so to speak? Because you always speak on, the lower the time frame, the higher the emotion. And that's something that I definitely can agree with because looking at the charts on the 5 minute, it's like it's all over the place. 1 second it's down, the next second it's up, and things of that nature. So is that kind of like the grasp that you try to push on us to focus more on how the price action closes on the higher time frame, if that makes any sense?
No, it makes sense. It makes sense. It all depends. I always, this is what I say. I'm gonna start with this. I like where you went with that, and that's a great question. I always say this. I look at it like a weather chart, right? If I'm having a picnic at the beach for my birthday, right, or a barbecue at the beach for my birthday, and my birthday is Friday and today is Monday.
Yeah.
I'm not going to use the hourly chart to tell me whether it's going to rain on Friday. I'm going to use the daily chart because each day represents, each candle represents one day of price action. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
it depends on how long I'm planning on being in the trade would determine the time frame that I'm using. So if I'm swinging, if I'm waiting if it's the end of the day and I know I'm swinging into the next day, then I'm looking at the daily. If it's the end of the week and I'm swinging over the weekend, I'm looking at the weekly chart. So it all depends on the time
Gotcha.
frame is it should be in direct correlation to the time, how the how long you're planning on being in the trade, because it can give a lot of false positives if you're using. Now listen, but what you just said, it depends. So in the market in the morning, when the market first opened, we don't have enough data on a session hourly or
Yeah,
or even a
correct.
daily candle to give us information fast enough for us to make a move. So then we're going to use that 5 minute, because each candle represents 5 minutes worth of price action. It's going to give
Yeah,
us an early signal into what's going on faster, so we can make a decision. So when the market first opened, I'm using that 5 minute, and waiting for that first 15 minutes and kind of see what the price action is given during that little that first the the first 15 minutes. But then, as the session as 10:30 starts to roll around, power hour is starting to end. Of course, now that session hourly candle matters, because I want to see, because you can get a whole lot of crazy price action that happens, but then right before that
yeah.
session hourly close, that last 5 minutes, then they pull a switcheroo on you quickly. So that's why I'm like, man, I'm chilling. I'm gonna wait to see how the session hourly candle close. You'll see that last 5 minutes, then market makers or whoever smart money come in and they close that, they bring that candle right back up over that level where you thinking it's going to close here, but then you got to wait to see how it closes. So it all depends on what you got going on, and which. So I'm putting the pieces together as the market is going on, because let's say I haven't taken a trade within off the 5 minute or the session hourly. I'm just waiting to see what's going on during power hours. So much choppiness or whatever going on. So I'm just waiting for a setup at this point, right? So a lot of times there's no setup, there's no trade. So sometimes I'm just letting the pieces fall into place, and I need that session hourly candle to solidify um, whether this position is, or whether this stock is bullish or bearish, or whether this setup is confirmed or not. So it all depends. Everything is in context. I always say every chart tells a story, and we need a setup. So I'm looking for all of those things to fall in place.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Because um one, it was, I believe, last Friday, um the 25th, I believe it was. So on like the hourly, because I do my best to chart all your levels that you post, and all the market talk and all that stuff. So as I was watching it, I saw that on the 5 minute, it hit one of your levels. And I said, okay, let me just watch it, because I wasn't in the trade. And I watched it, and then I see that the hourly closed underneath that level. And as soon as it closed underneath that level, it flushed. And I believe that was the day that you alerted a put trade to get some money, because you had already alerted a call trade
Yeah,
that particular week.
I
So
remember.
I noticed that you basically, that 5 minute, and I'm just saying this to see if my head's in the right space. That 5 minute was kind of like the entry, and then that hourly close underneath that level was basically like the alert to say, okay, so we possibly have some more downside going on with Meta, as well as the market was going down. So it was a little more confluence just for that initial flush down. Obviously, it held up at the end of the day, and then you did the call trade for the following week. But in
Yeah.
that moment, if I was seeing it right and reading it right, that was a kind of an alert to
Well,
get into the put.
Well, I do want to say, I want to add something to what you just said, because I like that you're putting these pieces together. So yeah, I need, because just like you just said, you see a bearish flag starting to set up on a 5 minute. That's just one level of confluence right there. I
Yeah,
need more supporting details to make me to help me make this decision. I'm not just going to go off of this one thing, especially now we got a session hourly about to close. So I'm gonna see, okay, if it went up and rejected, it hit this level, we're gonna see if it rejects it or not. It rejected it, and that was all I needed at that point. I got my other, but that's not always the case. Like I don't like to look at these things in a vacuum, because
yeah,
then
for sure.
members will say, well, it did this time, but I'm like, hold on, we were trading a bearish flag on this was a bearish flag setup that we were looking at, and we were waiting for this confirmation, or this last trade, or like the meta trade that we swung over the weekend. Meta was at key levels. The whole market was dying, but meta was at key levels. So I'm like, I don't care. We're gonna trade this. I'm gonna
Yeah,
die on this hill, but we're gonna trade this. We at key levels. We buying calls. You know what I mean? So it all
yeah,
depends on the setup and what that is. But yeah, in that situation right there, I was waiting. I needed that other layer of confluence because otherwise we could have gotten head faked, and I don't like to get head faked. And but that's where the patience comes in. And in that situation, that's what I was waiting for and looking for. So it all depends on the setup though, because I'm doing different things based on the setup. Different setups calls for different layers of confluence or um, and so yeah, but that was some good observation though. I like that you actually putting this together and making it make sense. You're not just jumping in place. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I just feel like in my situation, it's better for me to just take a step back. I've been doing a lot of the charting when you post stuff, and I just wanted. I know you haven't done a live, and it's been a minute, so I've been like trying to take some notes, and I know that trade was a little bit ago. I don't know if it was the 25th. I could be wrong. It could have been another day. Or it could have been 2 weeks ago, but I know you haven't done a live, and I was just waiting to ask you that actual question based on that specific time.
No,
But
that was
thank you though
good
for
though.
answering. I appreciate it. Thank you.
No, I appreciate the question because no, that was a good situation though. Like he just said that look, we were in meta calls, right? From earlier in that week, and those calls were down. But I told the team we were not selling those meta calls. Those meta calls, I was swinging those meta calls. They were down. I told the team, I said, if meta break this level right here, we're going to trade these puts. But to absorb the cost, to absorb the cost of these calls right now. But we're not selling that call because the structure hadn't broken down. Like I needed Meta to. We were a little early on that one, but I'm like I'm not selling that. We had a lot of time on the contract. It was a lot of people who probably had weeklies. We did not. So we had time, and I felt real strong about it. But I'm like in the meantime, just we're gonna take advantage of this opportunity if Meta breaks right here and and made that money back on those puts. And but I'm like I'm still in calls, and then at the bottom of that range, we bought more calls at the bottom of the range, and and swung those too. So it was a lot going on, but when meta's in play is in play, and it's not about when things like that happen, you draw from the things that you studied over and over again. I back test everything and we back test everything. So when things like that happen, I'm not afraid about it because I'm like this is what I live for. This is what we live for, these moments when the stocks pull down to these levels. This is what we here for. But a lot of people folded and because they don't know what they're doing, number one, and it's not because they aren't being taught what they're doing. Some people are just afraid. Trading is 90% psychological. So you got to
Yes.
realize, as smart as you are, or like as it sounds like, everybody like to use the buzzwords, and it sounds great. But I'm telling you, in real time, it's not. It don't feel good. Sometimes I feel that I get that same feeling sometimes too, and it's not always easy. But I'm gonna always trust my setup, and I'm gonna always stand behind my trades. So. And like I told y'all, I put my neck on the line after that, when we bought Meta at those key levels. And when the market came down, I'm like, as long as Meta holds this structure, we're fine. And it did. And the rest is history. But that's when you want to buy. And it was a really, really big week for Meta and for the market. But we were mainly trading Meta. So it was a pretty good one. Pretty good one. But yeah, no, thanks for
Yeah.
bringing that up though.
Yeah. No
No,
problem. And I just want to correct myself. It was the Friday the 20th because I know there's other people listening. So that Friday was that day that move to the downside happened. But thank you for answering. I appreciate it. Thank you.
no problem. No problem. Great question. All right, cool. Well, great commentary. All right, so does anybody else have anything they want to add before I move on? Cool. I'm gonna say one last thing though. Like a lot of people in who are trading, a lot of most of the people got families and kids and careers and stuff like that, and they leave out of the house to go make their money for their family and to come back home and feed their family. And so, like, how would you feel if like you went home to your son or your daughter and said, baby, I was scared to ask questions at the meeting, so that's why we ain't make no money and I lost the money that we worked hard for, and I'm your father and I was afraid to speak up and I didn't know what I was doing. I just lost the money. Just want y'all to think about those things throughout the week when so, and if you don't like asking questions and you are a shy person as a grown adult with grown kids and people that look up to you, right? Nothing wrong with it. If you are that person, that's even more reason you should go into that start here and make sure you go through all of it. Go through that video that I recorded in there so you can know where things are and what the best time, best practices are. Like some people say, you know what, when they come in, they don't have time to go back and read the chat to see if I said anything. You can um Discord has a powerful search engine. You can search for keywords. You can search for my name and find exactly what you're looking for. It's not that much commentary that goes in there. There's different things you can do because I'm giving you the updates, or we got these meetings. You can take notes at these meetings. Make sure you screenshot or take the levels when we're going over the charts. Watch the meetings replays back because it's going to automatically go to the replays channel, and only take the call outs that get alerted in the call outs, and make sure you're there. You're asking the right questions, and if you want to ask questions, if you don't, then I get it. But I'm saying, like, don't lose your money because you're afraid to ask questions. That's what I'm saying. And if you are, everything is in line, already set up for you. I'm just saying, it's just I this is isn't my first rodeo. When I used to work for T Row, and I was on the trade desk floor, there used to be people in there that was so intimidating that I had to ask questions to, and it made me who I am today. Like, I ain't afraid to ask no questions. I'm not afraid to be wrong and put my neck out there, and I got to do it every single day. So just think about that. It's psychological, but at the same time, this is something most people aren't making this type of money that we're making with this with the little the little input that you have to really do. All you basically have to do is follow the process, and you can take profit at a certain amount. Even if you didn't do anything else, there's just so much money that you can make. And just wanted to just throw that out there, just give you something to think about going forward. And so move on. All right, before I do the chart setups, I'm gonna go into economic data because they sending Powell out there again this week. I don't know why they sending him out there, but he got a speech on Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. right as the market opens on Tuesday. So, they send it, but this is the thing. On Monday at 10 a.m., they send in Bostic out there, and I told you Bostic is a wild card that we need to watch out for because he's been very outspoken lately and been going against a lot of the things that Powell has been saying, and he can move the market. So we got to watch out for Bostic at 10 a.m. on Monday. They got Gooseby. Gooseby is another one who says whatever he has to say, and they got him out there Monday at 1 p.m. So we got to watch out for Gooseby. Powell, like I said, is out there Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. as the market opens. He's doing a speech, so this is going to be interesting for the market. And then we got Bostic again Thursday at 11 a.m. But look, check this out. They sending Bostic out there Thursday at 11 a.m. after the non-farm payroll comes out. So they got the biggest jobs report of 2025 again on but Friday the market's closed for Independence Day, so they're gonna send them out there after the jobs report come out on Thursday. We got ISM manufacturing PMI Tuesday. We got JOLTS data Tuesday at 10 a.m. We got, like I said, we got the ADP. We got the ADP non-farm payrolls. That's Wednesday. Then we have jobless claims Thursday, followed by the jobs report. So we're going to get the average unemployment, the average hourly earnings, unemployment rate, and non-farm payroll. So that's the big jobs report that's going to move the market for sure. And so we also got ISM services PMI on Thursday. So we got a lot of data in this packed in this, excuse me, this short week. So everybody got to be on point this week. So I'm just going to hop right into charts from that. And I'm gonna run through these quickly. These are the only charts that I'm watching this week. And these are the only charts that I'm looking at this week right now. And because I like to concentrate my forces. That's important. And that's another thing I wanted to say too. I'm switching over to the charts now. But look, fam, you gotta concentrate your forces, man. A lot of y'all be looking at a whole lot of charts. And I'm like, come on, man. Wait, you gotta have some patience and wait for the ones that you're watching to play out. Don't just jump around to all of these other stocks. It's just not needed. Wait for your setups. And that's why you make the bigger moves when you wait for your setups to play out. I'm gonna start with Google because it's the last one that I charted. And Google was a pretty big mover on Friday. Now Google was the biggest laggard in the Mag 7 right now. You know, Google is doing some recovery right now. So what I'm gonna say for Google after this nice 2-2 continuation here that we got 222 continuation here on Google and closing over that level. I like that. Nice strong close. We won't have much of a wick either up here. So I'm gonna say over 70, over 178.68. Let's look for a retest of 180 and then 181.61 would be the next level for Google, and then 184.30. And if we can break out of there, it can be a nice move, but it could get rejected at the top of this range like it's done every single time. So we'll be watching Google for that. If it lose 171.73, look for a retest of 172. I'm sorry, if we lose 171.73, look for a retest of 168.60 and then 167.72, 164.50 should bounce down there if the 200-day doesn't save it, because you see here we got it look like it's about to do a golden cross right here. The 50 is about to cross the 200-day EMA. We'll see what happens here, but I like that close on Google. That was very convincing, and this is how the month is finishing. We got a bullish engulfing right here on the weekly for Google also with a nice 223 reversal. This looks really good. I like the way Google looks here. So keep Google on watch. Keep it on watch. Hey, Tesla. Here's Tesla right here on the daily chart. And you see Tesla here. It finished here holding its 50 EMA. Before I do the analysis, I'm gonna show you the weekly chart on this so you can see how this stock just we had a nice move here, but you see it got rejected here, came back down and finished just here, just shy of this low here with an inverse hammer on the weekly. And we got the monthly, like I said, closing tomorrow. And this is how Tesla looks on a month. So when you see all of that happened, Tesla's still inside on a month with a hammer on the month, and it's closing tomorrow. The monthly candle, I think we're gonna have a lot of volatility. You know, they're gonna do a lot of rebalancing on for on these ETFs and stuff like that. So we'll see how things play out. But here, Tesla here, I mean, the chart, it's been kind of consolidating a little bit, but we got a little breakout, but it's back into this range, but holding this 50. So for Tesla, and we did get this 212 down here, but we still been rejecting this non-EMA. We haven't been able to get back over it. So for and then this doji candle, how it finished. So just a nice, it opened on Friday at 324.51 and it closed at 323.63. So it's a very tight range on Tesla right now. So over personally for Tesla, you gotta be careful with Tesla because it can be a little tricky one. So I'm gonna say for Tesla over over three over three over three. What I'm gonna do for Tesla? Yeah, just over 329.34. Look for a move to 333.70, 339.41. But it likely, if it doesn't reject that same level again, but it looked like Tesla may try to break out, make a move here. And as far as the downside, under under 316.63, under 316.63. We'll look for a move to this gap fill area here for Tesla. Hold on. But it's been bouncing there. I'm not really looking forward to or anticipating it not to. But you know, when you get those types of ranges, sometimes that happens. So we lose that 316.63. Look for a move down here to 308.28 and then possibly even lower. But keep Tesla on watch. It's in a tight range and it's been holding. It looked like it's setting up to make a big move. So let's move on here. Well, actually into the yeah. So let's just keep it on watch. Um, IWM. So yeah, like the QQQ and everything has been running, man, so much. So I'm a little apprehensive about those stocks. I mean those ETFs, but the small caps looking great here. Let me go to the weekly on, and actually let me just switch this chart because I already had this one kind of set up on another chart. This is our IWM weekly chart right here. I mean, daily chart. We'll go to the weekly. We got a nice bullish engulfing right here, a 213 bullish engulfing. Looks really good. Reclaiming these areas up here. I like the way this looks. And it has a lot of places, I mean, a lot of levels that it can actually extend to if we were to get a continuation. Look like it wants to. I like when we get the market, because, when the market is in turmoil, the first thing they sell are the small caps because they don't have the market cap to support bear market and people just they when you with the for the small caps a lot of times you're taking a chance. It's one of those bets where you're taking a chance on like Meta and those big tech stocks. They got all of this cash flow, so they can sustain and they can continue to pay out dividends, whatever. A lot of these small cap stocks they just die. People just they sell them first. But yeah, look at this chart. Hold on one second. For IWM, if we are able to clear 217.41, I'm looking for a move to 219.37. And there's a few other levels that we can actually hit on this chart because, it's a very slow moving ETF. So that's another thing you got to consider. It just moves pretty slow, but you can get some nice moves off of it though. One sec. So over there, like I said, over at 219, and then we got 222.28, and we can get a lot more levels. Like I said, it can give us a nice move. Now, if we were to lose the 214.13, I'm looking for a retest of 211.65 and back down there to 208.64. But this thing, it looks pretty good right now. I like how it reclaimed that 200 moving average, and it's pretty looking pretty good right now. So let's just keep it on watch. Keep it on watch. I like it better than I like the Qs right now to the upside. And speaking of the Qs, let's just go ahead and knock them out. Yeah, man. Like at all-time highs. Y'all know how I feel about all-time highs, man. When stocks are at all-time highs, it's a follow the price action situation. I like to wait and see. I don't really make those predictions a lot when we get those stocks that are, or ETFs that are trading at all time highs. I like to wait for a pullback. But you see here, we got a nice 222 continuation and after a breakout. Cause we got to also, we talk about every chart tells a story, right? We always talk about the levels and stuff like that. This thing can actually push a lot higher if the momentum continues. But let me just yeah, so I'll say over that over 550, over 550, we looking for a hold on, where did it finish at on yeah, over 550. I'm looking for a move up into 550, 552, maybe up to 552. That's as high as I'm gonna go with this for right now. But again, I'm not trying to really trade this into all-time highs. What I would do is personally, if we get a gap up on this and it has a continuation, then personally, I'm waiting for a pullback or I'm gonna trade it on a 5 minute or a session hourly after levels because we're in price discovery right now. There are no levels up here. There are no levels for us to trade. So we will be looking for we'll be doing surgery on these larger candles on the lower time frames and waiting for a setup on that. Now to the downside, what I would like personally, I would love for a retest of this area down here. I would love for it to come back. Now it doesn't even have to come back down that far. We could retest one of these areas up here too, but just having it up there, I would like a retest first before a continuation, and we'll see that. But a lot, if you notice, for the most part, up until this area right here, it's been riding the 9 EMA up, and so a nice retest of the 9 EMA would be healthy for me. So I would like a retest or I would like a pullback. Now what I can give you but like I said, over that 550, then look for a move to 552, then maybe even up to 555. But if we were to lose that 544.54, look for a retest of well, 550, 543, and then you got 538, 25, 536, 25. Yeah, and so on. But yeah, we had it's a little extended right now, but this is the context. It's context to everything. This is a bullish flag breakout. And so now we get in the flagpole. A lot of times what happens, you start getting consolidation after that, but it's still in play. It could still, we could still get a continuation. So we just got to follow the price action and wait and see what the price action gives us in this situation. That's what I'm waiting for. All right, it's at all-time highs. Wait and see. APP. APP. All right, App Lovin. So App Lovin got the bearish engulfing right here. And we got but the thing is, it's an embarrassing golfing, but I'm gonna zoom out and show y'all this weekly chart. It's a little chop, like a lot going on over here. You can see this weekly chart. And actually, did I want to bring it up on this one or where I on another? Let me go hit my other chart. Hold on. Yeah, I'm gonna bring it up over here. My cleaner chart, APP. So look at this chart, man, for APP. So yeah, we got this pullback and all, but you see, it's still holding this structure. It's still holding this structure, and I like how the stock looks right here. So even on a weekly, we got a inverse hammer. It pulled back after a nice 222. Is that a yeah? Is that two? Yeah, it's down two. Yeah, but finished with an inverse hammer, but it finished green on the week. And but it's still holding that level. We don't have to see how things play out. And this is the monthly chart right here. It's not enforced, but it's still a two up, but it's not enforced on the monthly. So what we'll see here is what happens now. Now remember, this is one of them stocks that was running like crazy too for a while. So when the pullback was can be a little painful on this one, but I like stocks at key levels. And although we got this bearish engulfing right here, we're just gonna keep an eye on it and see if we get a bounce. And if we get a bounce, we can trade that bounce. But in the meantime, we just look at it like this: under 332.10. Look for a retest of 324.80, 318.27, and so on. This thing can flush down if it lose that level. Then we got this gap fill. It's probably going to go for because app loving can be violent. This can be a violent one. I like to trade it because of how violent it can be at times. So, but we'll keep it on watch for the downside. But like I said, key levels are important to me, and I'm gonna watch the key level. I didn't swing anything on it, but I'm watching it. If we were to clear that 348.83, I'm look 348.83. I'm looking for a retest of 353.10, 359.17, and even higher because that would be a reversal with a breakout too here. You see we got this little it's a little but it's bearish flagging right here. But like I said, and we got a bearish engulfing, and this is how the day ended here on Friday. So it looked like it wants to go down, but that key level on the weekly just says a little different. If it lose it, then we got it's flushing metals, and we can probably go all the way down there and retest that 200 EMA at 284.59, but we're going to keep it on watch because a breakout to the upside can send App Lovin on a tear. Y'all know how this stock moves. So just keep it on watch. Just keep it on watch because there's no way that, we're going to trade what the market gives us. We're going to trade what the market gives us. Goldman Sachs, all-time highs. Now I had y'all on Goldman Sachs for the last 3 weeks. I've been telling y'all to watch Goldman Sachs, and when it was ready to break out, I had it on y'all radar, and this thing broke out and it took off. And then I told y'all on Friday after the close, they did the banks passed the SPY stress test. They did really well with the stress test. And so I don't how I feel about all time highs, but this Goldman it's a little different. And so what we'll do is you just watch out for golden shoot, over 694.20. Look for a move. Yeah, over 694.20. Look for a move to 700. And then we got the 705. We got 710. Now, if we were to lose that 685.39. It's a few levels that we could break down to, but like I said, it'll be a nice move down if it was to do that. Now you see there are really no levels in between here if you look at my chart. So and I didn't put any more levels. Now we could get a stop right here. Maybe I'll put a level there, maybe because sometimes because that was such a huge candle. it could kind of retest this area and then pull up. So I'll put something right there if we were to lose that 685.39, that's that 670, and then we got 663.33, and then 659.59. But keep Goldman on watch, man. This is a big one. You see it finished with a doji, all of that selling pressure, but it did not break down. Did not break down. And the bank stress test, I told you they did pretty well. So um, keep Goldman on watch. Keep Goldman on watch. Right, let me here we go. UNH. UNH, man. UNH. So look at UNH, man. You know, it's been a lot going on with UNH. It's dropped down and it's been trying to get some gain a little bit of traction. It's been trying. It's been trying. And this is what we have thus far for UNH. So just look what we got here for UNH. You just keep an eye on this stock because it's trying to give us a little life to it on Friday, you know? And we getting a little breakout here. I like what I'm seeing. And over over 310.45. Look for a move back up there to, yeah, over 310.45. We got that 311.28, 313.66, 315.89. And then that thing gonna probably shoot up and make a huge move from there if it does break out of there. It look like we can really it's gonna the first place is gonna go is probably that 50. But you know, I'm a keep an eye on this. Keep an eye on this. See if we can get a move. This thing can make a big move. Let me look at the weekly chart for y'all. Look at this. I mean, or it could break down. See, it's crazy how you look at you. It gives you context. I ain't give y'all the downside yet, but I'm just showing y'all what happened. Because look at here. You can look at this as a bear flag, right? But at some point, the stock got to recover, and it may not be now. But look, check this out. We reclaimed this level and it's been holding this level right here. I like that so far. I like that so far. It's trying to make some moves up and it hasn't been able to really make too much of a move. This is the monthly inside on the month, but it at least is green so far. It looks like it's going to finish. Damn, that's terrible. This is the whole month. So it's been in this range in consolidation all month like this after a flush like that, after it's been flushing these last few months, it's just been sitting right here. But you know, a one is a neutralizing candle, so a one can reset the whole move. So we like ones. We like when candles finish like that. So just showing y'all this. I like what I'm seeing. This could be a first sign of new life. Now remember how we talk about lower time frames and this and the whole sequence of what I just showed y'all, the daily chart is the lower time frame in this situation, and it's gonna be the first to give us the early signal into what could possibly happen in this situation. And we getting a little peek out right here, like it's trying to break out and give us a little start of something. So we're gonna see what happens and go from there. So yeah, but if we were to lose that 302.20, look for a retested 300.31. That's going to be a psychological level. We lose that, then we got that 291.75. So yeah, and then possibly a lot further down because it's bear flagging on the weekly. So yeah, keep UNH on watch. And before I hit Meta, Nike traded a week last week. Nike, well, Meta was a trade of the week last week, but Nike was a pretty big trade. And you see it reclaimed its 200-day EMA and it finished just here. Nike, Nike had a lot of it's a lot of they beat on the top and bottom line and the guidance wasn't as bad. The guidance was okay. The guidance was okay and the main issue was their margins, but their margins weren't as bad as they thought they were going to be. And and people were like, okay, cool, it's time to start buying Nike again. And so that's where we are with Nike. So from right now, over 74.19. We got 75.17, we got 76.82, and so on. Now, if we were to lose this 69.69, look for a retest of that 69.43. Well, actually, I'm gonna just say this: if we lose that 69.43, because I wouldn't want to touch it until it lose that level. We lose that level, then we got that 76.56. But we also have a gap fill that could possibly get filled in between that. So we'll mark that up too. We'll probably try to fill that first before we get all the way down there. So yeah, make sure I just cover that gap fill. So yeah, we got that gap, but it's right there and route to that level. But we're gonna keep it on watch. I like Nike here. Look at this chart. Every chart tells a story. I'm gonna show y'all the weekly first, then we can look at everything else. Look at this weekly chart. Bullish engulfing, 222 reversal with a bullish engulfing. It ran like a bat out of hell. We ran all the way up here. Here's the weekly right here. Hold on. This is the weekly. I mean a monthly. So like we need to break out of this downtrend. You clearly you see this, we get out of there. So look, the monthly close tomorrow, that'll be a nice close if we can get over this line right here and this candle confirms, get a candle confirmation over that level. That'll be solid for a big move for Nike, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be nice? So yeah. So, but yeah, we gotta keep Nike on watch. I like the chart. I think it looks good, and it's well. But I was gonna show y'all was this 200-day EMA though. Look, so Nike ain't been over the 200-day EMA in a long time. We had one little glimpse of it right here, like short-lived, and then it died. But this was a strong hold. We gapped up over it, and we held it with strength, right? The last time we did something like that was before that last time I showed y'all in February. The last time since then we've been over the 200 day was damn. This was February of 2020. So look, so it's crazy. Look, February of 2024, I mean 2025, we had one little small close over the 200 day and it was short-lived. And this one looks similar to that one. And in February 2024. But look, I'm looking for one of them ones like we got right now or something. I don't really see one, but if you can get that big move when it reclaims it, if the market is in play, if the market is if the market is bullish and everything is good and now because Nike hasn't lied to us in the past. They didn't lie to us. They told us the truth every time. They said we're not ready. We're looking for the long haul. We're not worried about beating these earnings right now and just to make these analysts happy. We looking for the long haul. We rebuilding right now. So they gave us a little glimpse into what we needed to hear right now. And so I think Nike can have a nice continuation because otherwise it would have sold. But you see how hard it's been for Nike to reclaim that 200-day and hold it. It's been little short glimpses. So that was the first sign what we got that looked like we can get something promising from it. So we're gonna keep Nike on watch. We're gonna keep Nike on watch. Meta platforms, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, we got Meta platforms. And this stock is on go right now. Bullish flag after bullish flag after bullish flag. We got another one in play right now. But look, like I said last week, this was where we swung. We swung right here with a big violent sell-off right here, candle stop right here. I'm like, look, man, we are buying Meta and we're gonna swing these calls and we're gonna swing them other ones too. And you see the rest is history. That thing took off and yeah, so now what I would look for right now for Meta, I mean, if the market continues to move, then we can obviously get a move. I mean, I would, like I told the team on Friday, I'm not opposed to a nice little pullback, maybe back down here to the breakout area. That would be cool. And just a second, let me show y'all this weekly chart to y'all so y'all can see how this breakout look. This crazy breakout. We right here pushing the all-time highs. I told my team earlier in the week well last early well not early in the week but I said that if we got over 720 730 was in play and a close over 730 could would induce 750 not 740 but 750 so if the market continues to move then Meta's going to give us these big another move but I would not be mad at a pullback down here to 723 or something like that first and before a continuation. I would not be mad at that. But if the market is bullish and everything is great, just a pullback down to 730 would even be even better, would be cool before continuation. But markets don't just move in one direction. We get pulses and waves. So we get retests. I would like this one though. That 723 would be perfect. And but we could even get a bigger one, you know. We'll see what happens though. We'll see what happens. We gotta wait and see. Right now, like I said, I know what I'm looking at for Meta, but again, we just got to trade what the market give us. And if Meta was to lose this 725.86, we could get a retest of 723 69, and then possibly down to 716.26, and and so on. A nice move back down to the 9 EMA would be cool too. Now, if we clear 735.43, look for a move to 740, 750. I'm really 750 is my target. And then over 750, we got some other levels in play too. 750 and 770. But yeah, but we're going to have to see what the market gives us and how everything moves. So far, so good. This is how Meta looks on the month. This is the month right here. So let's go ahead and take the all-time high out and stop playing, get that out the way. But like I said, y'all got to pay attention to some of these things too, because we can get a little, it can come up here and reject this. But I'm looking for us to continue this momentum as long as the market continues to, or just the market just got to hold and we should be good. And yeah, but I know we went over. That's all I have for right now, fam. Thank y'all for locking in, and I'm looking forward to a great week. Y'all have a great rest of your day. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
No
you.
problem.